Hello, guys. Another episode of Loving the Game. I'm Jacques, the Yellow Cap for Yellow Cap Sports these days. Welcome to another show, and I want to introduce you guys to someone that I got to know over Twitter, as most of my guests have been. And for the first time, we actually get to chat to each other face to face for a matter of speaking. And anyway, with no further ado, let me introduce you guys to Juandre Joubert, who's a digital media manager for SA Rugby Mag, which is an online platform these days. And let me throw it to Juandre. Juandre, welcome and thanks for joining us.
Welcome, Jacques. Thanks for the invite. It's a privilege to be on the show.
Thanks so much, man. Tell me, Juandre, let's just to get things started. Tell us who you are and what exactly do you do these days, and just a little background on yourself before we get into the actual chat of the rugby and all those things.
Okay, well, Jacques, firstly, I'm a father of a little girl. She's turning 3 next month, and I've got a lovely wife. I work, as you said, for SA Rugby magazine. I like I'm in charge of all the social media, whatever goes on there, all the live tweeting and all the banter that goes on there, and I love it because I love sports.
So if we see any spelling mistakes, then we can just send you a direct message, and we know who's the bad boy.
Yes.
Well, I'm sure. I mean, obviously, it's a hell of a responsibility to have all that. I mean, do you literally do all of it on your own?
I used to, but the team have expanded now, and everybody do their own things now. And but I'm still very, very much involved. But it's very time consuming. So we do have some shifts that we work and stuff. But when the box play, I like to take that responsibility because it's a big test, and like I said, I love doing it.
Yeah. I can imagine. Well, that's quite nice that you can actually choose what you want to do. So it's not necessarily prescribed to you. But I'm sure during the World Cup, I mean, you guys had to alternate a little bit, and because I mean, it was quite busy then. So I mean, to do every day, all the games. I mean, how many games were there? I can't even remember. 48 or something. So, but I mean, that must have been interesting times for you. I know, if I remember correctly, I mean, time flies by so quickly these days. You started there last year, right? Or was it the year before last year?
I started
2018.
At the end of 2016. At the start of 2017, involved. Yes.
Oh, geez. Okay, well, clearly you were hiding well until I found out. But anyway, tell me, Juandre, where did your love for rugby actually start? Was it someone, or did you see rugby? Did someone introduce it to you? How did it start for you?
Well, Jacques, my love for rugby came from my grandfather. He's a thoroughbred Bull supporter in Northern Transvaal. And he took me to my very first match at Loftus. And when I walked up those days and saw the massive field here in front of me, it's just a memory that I'll never forget. And from there on, my love for the game just grew. And it never went away.
How old were you when that happened?
I was about 9 years old when I went to my first match. But growing up with my grandfather, he was just like, no, my light is all a bull wees, and I didn't want to disappoint him. So
never. You made a very good choice made a very good choice in life. As you can see, I'm also a staunch Bull supporter. I don't know why, but I'm wearing my Springbok jersey today. I was actually thinking of I should wear a Bulls jersey and just make it all blue. Yes. I know we've got a few friends watching today, a Lions supporter and another Stormers supporter. But like I always tell those oaks, we all have problems in life. Some more than others. But anyway, So you went to your first game at the age of 9, thanks to your grandfather, which is obviously a great guy. Um, and tell us about some of your first memories. Obviously going to the game. What was who were the first players that came to, or which come to mind when you think of back in the day, when you were still small?
Well, definitely, Joost. He was a big hero of mine when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Big Jonah. What he did in '95. He just burst onto the scene and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
destroyed everyone. But yeah, Joost was definitely a big influence in my life. Watching him play was just amazing. Seeing some of the things he did, and so yeah. But coming back to that first match, it was when we hosted the Stormers, and Brighton Paulsen scored a hat trick, and the Stormers actually gave it a bit of a hiding. So yeah, he was one of the players that I'll also never forget, just because of that memory. When he scored his third try, he did his valve heel backflip, and so yeah.
Yes, yeah, I'm unlucky for you. I must say my first game at Loftus was luckily, I must say, a win. Although I'm gonna lie if I have to tell you who played that day. Besides, obviously, back then it was Northern Transvaal, and more than likely it was either one of two games. It was either Western Province or it was a Lions game. And for some reason, I remember it being actually I don't know if it was a Currie Cup final against the Lions. And I'll never forget Dion Oosthuizen scored a try when Nas kicked the ball from, I think, it was like in our 22-yard area, and he kicked the ball downfield towards Peter Hendricks was the wing, and the ball bounced. For some reason, he let the ball bounce, and when it bounced, it went the wrong way, and Dion Oosthuizen was storming down on him, and as the ball bounced, he obviously saw where the ball was bouncing, and he literally grabbed the ball out of his hands under the poles. That was, I tell you what, I think that was the first and the one memory I will never ever forget. Being at Loftus, one of my first ever games, and I remember that was also, sadly enough, the day that Jan Lok passed away. He didn't play for the Blue Bull, as they were more fondly called then. He played for the B team, or whatever you call it. So it was the curtain raiser. Back in those days, there were curtain raisers, unlike today.
Yes.
Any players that come to mind today that stand out for you, that really gets you excited?
Well, definitely Big Dwayne.
Yeah.
I've always wanted him to play for the Bulls, and when that news broke, I was like one of the happiest men alive.
Yeah.
He's just his game, and it doesn't always get appreciated as much as it should, showing in the amount of tests that he has played for the Boks.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely Dwayne. Listen, Jason Colby is something special at the moment. Yeah. But for me, a player that I think is still gonna score a lot of tries for the Springboks is Makazole Mapimpi. That man, when you look at him, he doesn't look as fast. It looks like he's jogging on the field, but he just out everyone and he always scores.
I'm glad you say that, because I started thinking I'm the only guy that sees it that way. It's so weird when you see him run. It looks like he's jogging, and yet, I mean, the other day, I mean, it's happened, I think, more than once now. What's his name? Kortnel Skosan. I mean, that's a guy, when you look at him run, it looks like he is, the bicycles, when you set the gears on a bicycle, and then you put it on, I think it's the smallest gear, then your legs are going like crazy, but you're going nowhere. And with Makazole, it's the other way around. When you put it on the big gear, you're actually betting slowly, but you're going like super fast. And yeah, I'm actually glad that someone else also saw that. You guys actually mentioning Dwayne now. I saw something interesting that you guys tweeted on the SA Rugby Magazine Twitter account. I don't know. It was in the last few days. That, and I can't remember the year now. But it was when the emerging box drew level with the British and Irish Lions. You had the team, the list of team, and
Yes.
Dwayne was in that team. He was actually in that team.
Yeah.
I can't remember what year it was. And when I saw that, I thought, geez, Dwayne has been around for a long time. And like you, I think rightly said now, it's quite sad that he hasn't that he doesn't have more Bok caps than what he should have probably. And it's interesting all these things that you guys are putting out there on the platform about teams of the year, and I think you guys also tweeted the one where there was 6 or 8 players, and where they asked which guys should have played more for the Boks.
Yes.
It was a poll that they were running also in the last few days. And those things are tough to decide, because you look at the one guy and then you go to the next guy, and each of them kind of have like, this guy should have played more. This guy, yes, and you can't pick one guy. I know a lot of the guys that I saw that picked what's his name, Heinrich Brosseau. So
Yes.
I think the content that you guys are coming up with is really awesome. At least it's keeping the guys' minds busy and stuff. Because yes, I mean, having no live sport is painful. Obviously, this is probably going to be a tough one, but and I probably know what your answer is going to be. Although I know, hopefully, you can surprise me. But your favorite ground that you've attended? I know you're living in the Cape at the moment, so it's hard for you to come to Loftus. You've been to Loftus. You've obviously been to Newlands. Where else have you been, and what ground really, you love going there, irrespective of who you support?
Well, for me, Ellis Park is very special. I went to go watch the Boks play against Ireland when
Yes.
I'm not sure who scored the try. One of the Lions wingers scored in the corner. And
no, I forgot his name. Can you believe it? I know exactly who you're talking about, because I was also at that game. Yeah, when the game turned, we were behind, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yes, I remember the Boks actually being booed off the field at halftime.
Yes.
Because we lost the previous test at Newlands, I think, when CJ Stander got red carded for Ireland with his hit that unfortunately
Patrick Lambie's
at
career.
Lambie. Yes, and Ellis Park is very special. I've watched a lot of games there, being from the East Rand, and but Kings Park as well in Durban.
Yeah.
I watched the one test there where the All Blacks actually gave the Boks a hiding. We drove all the way to Durban on the Friday. We watched the test on the Saturday and then drive back Sunday. But it was a lovely vibe. Before the match, everybody was outside having a braai. Went in, watched the Boks lose, came back out and just continued to do. And that was also very, very lovely.
Was that when Alistair was still in charge?
I think so.
Okay. Well, it's interesting when I chat to you guys on this on the show, like you and me today, and then you guys start mentioning games, and it's funny how then I'm like, geez, but I was also at that game. And I mean, that game in Durban, I was lucky to be there as well. So I mean, it was something like someone mentioned it the other day on one of the chats we had. And they said it was like something like 57-0 or somewhere around there. I know it was when we were getting Puxla proper. It wasn't great, but like you said, the vibe was just amazing. And I mean, to go to any All Black game, win or lose, I think it's just one of the ultimate games to be at. Regardless. But going to an All Black game, I don't know if you've ever had an opportunity where the Boks actually win. That is like the most amazing experience in rugby. Besides the Bulls winning Super Rugby,
I've watched the Boks play New Zealand last year. No, not last year, the year before at Loftus, where we threw away the big lead. We lost that. The year before, I went to watch them play at Newlands, who also lost, I think, by points in the end. when the Boks played in South Africa, I'm staying away from now on because we just lose the matches that I go.
Yeah, I was about to say no. I think you need to stay away from now on. Rather not go. Watch it on TV. We'll send you pictures. Wish you were here.
Yeah.
Anyway, tell me, are you someone? I mean, you can clearly see I'm a bit of a collector of jerseys, and when I can, I try and get them signed because I mean, you can't frame a jersey that's not signed. So I mean, that one behind me, that side, yeah, there. Is actually a very special one for me. It's one that was signed by US. Actually, when he was already very sick by the time he signed that. Do you collect any memorabilia? Anything special that you have?
Yes. I've got a Bok jersey that was also signed by US among other players.
Oh wow!
In 2003, the Boks played against the Falke, a warm-up match in
yeah.
And they at the Pambrink Stadium, and
yes,
I hounded US for his signature, and he was standing next to, I can't remember who it was, but I was like, US, asseblief, US, but I was a small lighty man, 13 years old,
wow.
And he was like, okay, wag net 'n bietjie. And when I got his signature, I was out of my skin. I was the my life.
Yeah, I can imagine. Tell me, I mean, you obviously played rugby when you were at school, and did you play rugby after school?
So I played at school, fourth team for Hoërskool Huguenote. I wasn't talented or actually hardworking enough to play in the first team, but we enjoyed the fourth team games. We never trained, pitched up and played. So, and it was like a vibe. We won the league that year, so I was happy with that. After school, I went to play for Springs Rugby Club under 21s. Played a season there, but yeah, then life happened, and I didn't actually get a lot of time to play anymore. But I still love it. I did my refereeing course through the Falke. I refereed some schoolboy games, but yeah, that's where I actually learned a lot of respect for the referees, because it's easy for us on the side to say, yes, my ou het swak geblaas vandag of this and that, but when you are then in the moment, you can't, you don't have eyes in the back of your head, you can't see everything, so you definitely make mistakes, but it was a lucky experience, and I would actually love to start doing that again.
Oh wow, that's cool. That's I'm laughing. Sorry that I'm laughing, but I'm laughing because I mean, it's the third day in a row now that someone said they were a referee. So yeah, maybe that's quite funny. But I mean, I didn't obviously know this. Tell me, I mean, is in your time doing social media, do you ever get opportunities to go to like events, or are you just the poor bugger that's got to sit at home or wherever behind your computer or your phone? You know, you don't get to see all the nice stuff.
No, well, I've gone to a couple. A couple of years back, when the Boks played the All Blacks, there was a breakfast with Justin Marshall and Juandre Joubert. That was quite nice. But what stands out for me was last year during the World Cup Trophy Tour. We were invited to go to Stellenbosch and spend the night with John Smith and John de Villiers again. And that's where my profile picture was taken for Twitter, me standing next to the cup. So, yeah.
I was actually wondering when that picture. Yeah, I was actually wondering when that picture was taken, because I mean, yeah, obviously I wasn't sure if it's an old picture or a new one. So that's very cool. I mean, I tell you what, as some people obviously know, I work at SuperSport, and I was actually at SuperSport the day that the Springboks were there. The whole team was actually there after the World Cup. But unfortunately, I didn't have access to the area that they were in. My planning was a bit crap, to be honest. But I tell you what, some of us we all have moments that we can experience and have memories of. And I mean, I'm sure you're gonna have a lot still, because I know you love your job. I mean, I think anybody that works in sport, especially if it's like you literally work with everything rugby. Although sometimes it can be demanding. I mean, it's better than sitting counting banknotes or pushing a pen and doing stuff like that. I mean, and being creative. Obviously, you're a creative guy. Let's get a bit into stuff that stood out for you in regards to from a rugby perspective, in the sense of what is your most memorable moment, as a supporter, whether it's Bulls, Springboks, doesn't matter what. What's that one moment that whenever you think of it, you just get happy and, this is why I'm a rugby supporter.
Okay, I'm going to give you two examples. The one was I was at the stadium and the other one I was not. So the first one was in 2004 2004 when the Bulls played against the Western Province in the Currie Cup semi-final. And that stadium was packed. I've never seen it fuller than it was that day. And
was that Loftus?
I know the Bulls. Yes. The Bulls. And then it was a tight match. Gary Brits scored a couple of times for Western Province, and I think Derek Keane scored for the Bulls. And then there was one moment where Derek Hougaard kicked. It was a kickoff, and Hilton Lobbert caught the ball out of the air, and he went to go score straight from that kickoff. There was a man sitting next to me. I've never seen him in my life, but we were celebrating and hugging each other, and that was just an amazing feeling. I was just like, I went mad. It was mad, and I loved every second of it.
Yeah.
And
what other moment?
Second moment is, of course, the 2007 Super Rugby final. Me and my mates visited me, and we were at my parents' house, and we just had a lekker vibe, crying, and our neighbors to this day are still very big Shark supporters, so there was this huge rivalry between the two of us.
Wow.
Sharks led, and they came out with their flags and Sharks, and one of my dad's friends were also lekker dop already, and he was like, no, they should have been leading by more because the Bulls, ek gaan nou Afrikaans sê, die bulle speel nou afdraande. En so ja, when Albert van der Berg scored that try, my best mate is a big Shark supporter, and I sent him a message saying, listen here, well done to your team, they fully deserve the victory, tough luck, but congratulations and enjoy the victory. And then 3 minutes later, Arnie Adams passed the ball to a banner, and when he scored that try, I went ballistic. I went mad. I ran to my father and hugged him, and I just went totally boss. My mom was like running out the kitchen. It's like, what's happening? And I was like, die Super Rugby beker gewen, and I knew Derek was not going to get that kick. But so when he scored that, I just messaged my mate again saying, Tuma. That was all.
Oh, that's hilarious. I'll tell you what, I've heard some amazing stories from that final. I was lucky to be there. And I'll tell you what, when I remember when Albert van der Berg scored, it was close to the end of the match. And the way the game was going, I remember Albert van der Berg scored, and then it was a 6-point gap, if I'm not mistaken. We had to get 7 to win. And my wife turned to me. Well, at that stage we were just dating, and she turned to me and said, "What now?" And I said, "Nah, it's over. I mean, we've got to score 7 points to win." And I mean, there was some time left, but I just felt the way the game was going, it was too tight. It's not going to happen, you know. I mean, it wasn't like a free for all, you know, back and forth scoring tries, and I mean,
Yes.
yeah. And I mean, that was my last words, and I was pretty like bleak. We weren't going to win, as you say. I mean, you find a friend to tell him congratulations, and yes, and then it happened. I mean, I was literally in tears. I know, I actually got a photo somewhere that my wife sneakily took of me in tears. But I mean, I think it was just the tension and the jubilation, you know, of
Yes.
realizing what had happened. And you know, like you say, I mean, Derek Hougaard, there's no ways he was gonna miss that kick, you know, for nothing in the world. So it was just like, and I mean, when the Sharks charged him, I was like, oh no, what's going on now? And yeah, thankfully, and unfortunately for the Sharks, you know, sanity prevailed for us, because I mean, we all know all the stories the Sharks tell us about, you know, how we stole the match and this and that and what. But anyway, you know what? On the trophy, it just says Bulls. That's all it says. So uh, obviously, you know, as a Bull supporter, you've experienced a lot of great moments and stuff. What is and again, I mean, as a Springbok supporter, also, um, what is that one moment that stands out for you that just rips out your heart if someone mentions it, or by accident you think about it, you know, or see it on TV?
Well, there's two examples that come to mind. It's definitely the 2011 quarterfinal.
Yeah,
I still don't know how the Springboks lost that match. Yes, I missed a certain referee totally screwed us over. And then
yeah,
also the 2005 Currie Cup final. I
oh
was
yeah,
100% sure that the Bulls are going to win. We went 8 from 8 during the normal stages,
yeah,
easily reached the final. There was no ways that the Free State was supposed to beat us. And yeah, then we all know what happened. Farida Priya and Juandre went up for the same ball, and Meyer Bosman scored a try that made him a Springbok. So,
yeah,
yeah, that's one of the matches I would have over. But you learn from that, and I think it made me a better
yeah,
person. When I was young, I was a very, very bad loser. I couldn't take.
yeah,
I was like always looking to blame something to take when I lost at anything, or when the Bulls lost. I was always looking for excuses and things like that. But we all grow, and it definitely made me a better man.
yeah.
But yeah, that's the beauty of sport. There's ups and downs, you know. It's like, I know you are a very big Lewis Hamilton fan. I despise the Oak, but that's the beauty of it. We can't all
Yeah.
support the same team or the same team or whatever, but that's what makes it so lekker.
Yeah, I remember the day you sent me a tweet and said, "Oh no, you're not serious. Seriously, a Lewis Hamilton supporter." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess we can't support everything the same, eh?" But yeah, that's unfortunately one of those things. I don't know. I just think he's. I know there's a lot of stories and stuff, and the way he wins and things, but you know what? We all have our reasons, and I think he's a great ambassador, a sports ambassador. And sometimes, you know, I look at guys.
Yes.
It's the same as Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, I'll tell you now that, and it's a big debate. It's a debate that will carry on for, I think, even after they finish playing. Um, I'm a big Cristiano
Yes.
Ronaldo fan, and the reason for that is, and I will always support the argument of the fact that, and that's why I believe they shouldn't be compared, because I think they're two different players. They're completely different. They're worlds apart from each other. But I just think Ronaldo is a better human being. That's the way I look at it. From my perspective, I look at the bigger picture, not just, what happens between the four lines. So that's the reason why I think, Ronaldo is a better guy. And the same for Lewis. I think the stuff that I've seen Lewis done is it just stands out for me better than a Vettel, for argument's sake. But someone that I must say that someone that I do admire, that's very young and upcoming, is Charles Leclerc. I mean, now we're talking Formula One, which is great. I mean, it just shows you, and I know you're a big sports lover of note. So I mean, it just shows, rugby guys do have a bigger interest than just the oval ball. But for me, Charles Leclerc, I think is going to be a hell of a big name in years to come. And I actually feel sad for him that he's got to be behind a guy like Sebastian Vettel. But I don't think it's going to last for too long anyway. So it's going to be a matter of time, then he's going to be kicked out. Do you ever get the opportunity to do interviews with players or coaches or something, or do you literally only manage the content on a social media basis, as in the journalists do the work and you just get it out there?
Yeah, it's more like what you said in the second half of your statement. But there are some opportunities. If take them, it's not like I don't want to take them. It's just I'm too busy. This job keeps me a hell of a lot busy. There's a lot of stuff to do. It's not always what you only see on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. There's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes, having to keep advertisers happy and things like that, and also internal things. But I've had a couple of interviews, not with like a lot of famous people, but that time will come. It's I think as a journalist, you need to. In my view, you need to earn your stripes. You need to earn the right to actually have an opinion. So, and at the moment, but it will come. It's only a matter of time, and it just needs me to put in a little bit more hard work to have an opinion like Craig Lewis has, or John Cardinelli and all of those. They haven't been journos for only a year or two. They've been coming a while, and that's why they are respected journalists.
Yeah. I know you actually started writing a few pieces for your publication. So, I mean, like you say, it's just a matter of time, and then you'll get there. I mean, you've got to start somewhere. So, I mean, that's really cool. But if you do get the opportunity one day and you can interview someone, and you only get to ask them one question, who would that person be, and what would that question be?
Oh yes, that's a difficult one.
Well, let's put it in this context. Forget about your work. You're a fan, and you can meet any rugby player from back then or now, and you're allowed to ask them only one question. Let's put it that way. What would you do? Or who would it be, and what would the question be, basically?
Well, I would definitely, the late Joost would definitely be somebody that I would have loved to have interviewed, or just having to be able to ask such a question. And I think it would just be like, how do you do it? What makes you so special? Because he was just something out of this world. And I know a lot of people's opinions will differ, but not a lot of people actually choose Joost in their ultimate team. But for me, he'll be definitely number one, and on the bench it would be Fourie de Pre, because both of them, number one, they played for the Bulls, so they'll definitely have definitely always have a special place in my heart. And but the game spoke for themselves. It's like when Joost touched the ball, something was going to happen. Fourie de Pre was a generaal with his boot. I'll never forget the way I celebrated the try he scored against Wales. We were at a pub there in Benoni, and I was like one of those moments again. Is the Boks now actually going to lose to Wales and be kicked out of the World Cup? And then Dwayne with that stoute the pop after the rug and putting in the corner.
Was amazing. Yeah.
So yeah, for me, the US, just because it was my hero growing up, and it will never change. I'll never forget how I felt when the news broke about his illness, and then they gave him a couple of months to live, and he just showed he's still going to fight, and he fought until the end. And he definitely shed a tear on his funeral there at Loftus. It was.
Were you there?
Yes. I was, and it was, like I said, it was saying goodbye to your hero one last time. I know a lot of people also say, they're only also just human beings like you and I, which is probably true. Well, not probably, it is true, but it's just the effect that he had on my life. It's something that I can never forget.
Yeah, I was also at the funeral, and I was lucky enough to actually be at the church service before the stadium, and I'll tell you what, it was a somber day, and one thing I must say, the thing that hit me the hardest was after the funeral when they left Loftus and they had that procession outside Loftus, and his family just standing there and his coffin being taken away. Yes, I tell you what, that really ripped my heart out, because I was fortunate enough to, like I say, I've got that jersey, and I was fortunate enough to, for 3 years, I actually raised funds for Joost, and it was for him specifically, not because a lot of people don't know this, but he never benefited directly out of the J9 Foundation. The J9 Foundation was for other MND sufferers, so it wasn't for him. And when I actually found out about it, I started raising funds for Joost for 3 years. And it was just something that I felt that I wanted to do. There was no funny reason behind it or anything. And through that, obviously, I got to meet him. And I was lucky enough to spend, one morning alone with him, literally alone, as in just me and him. And that I will remember for the rest of my life. So that is really, if ever you get an opportunity to do an interview with someone, I must say, I'm sure there'll be someone along the way, and that will blow your mind. And the hardest part, I think, is, what do I ask this guy? Because you only sometimes get that one chance.
Yeah.
And I tell you, it's cool, and we're very lucky to work, and I think you'll agree with me. It's a privilege to do it, to work in sport. I think, because a lot of people only see the glamorous side of it, but I think you will vouch for it. You said it earlier on. It's a hard job. Sometimes people only see the surface of what you do, and I think you sit and come, every day you meet all these heroes and stuff, and that's only the tip of the iceberg, if ever, if and whenever it happens. And even though you get to meet them, they don't even know who you are. So it kind of, but it's fun to do what we do. Just last of all, I want to ask you, as a Bull supporter, never mind the Springbok supporter. The Springbok supporter, we've won the World Cup 3 times. Geez, that's awesome. Hopefully we can somehow do it again in it's not even 4 years, but the next time round, it will be really, really cool if we can do that. But as a rugby supporter, if there is there one wish that you, winning Super Rugby 3 times already. I know we'll win it next year. We'll win it again, so that's not a difficult one. And then we'll win Currie Cup this year, because I know Jake has already said his first goal is to win the Currie Cup. But anyway, if there was one wish you had as a rugby supporter, what would that be?
Well, for me, it's to get the game growing again. It is actually quite sad when we go to the stadiums and see it actually being not even a quarter of the way full, especially if you've seen and experienced full stadiums and then you go to places like Newlands and Loftus and seeing, wow, there's more empty chairs there than there are actually spectators at the game. But for that to happen, a lot of things will need to change, especially around the game day experience of the fan, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be one of my, would be my wish, just to see full stadiums again, see people actually enjoying the whole game day experience, not just pitching up for the game, or watching your team lose or win and then just leave, So like I said, Super Rugby at the moment, there's not a lot of interest. If you take a look at places, going outside of rugby now, but play like the NFL, it's like there will be teams that lose week in and week out, but their stadiums are always full. That is because they just make the match day experience so much more enjoyable for fans, And a lot of teams are trying to change that. I know I haven't been at a Bulls game in a while, but after the match, they had the players walking around, signing signatures and posing for photos. That's a start, but we need to get the fans more involved in a way, or make the product better, not having 18 Super Rugby teams and then have teams like the Sunwolves that lose week in and week out. And the Jaguares, they did it brilliantly well, but it took them a while for a full Argentinian test team to make the final. But I would definitely reduce Super Rugby either back to Super 14 or Super 12. Let every team play every team, and let the top four make the finals. Not this stuff where you are actually the fourth best team on the table, but you are hosting a semi-final because you won your conference. So small things, but they'll definitely need to think about something to get our game back out there, and hopefully with World Rugby, Augustin Pichot, maybe he gets a job and he comes in and changes everything. We don't know what the future holds, but I'm just hoping to see some rugby still being played this year. I'm not sure if that's possible. I know it's difficult for everyone with this epidemic that's going around. But let's hope for the best.
Yeah. So I've got some questions from a few guys. Pierre Dawood, I don't know if you know him. He's also the lover of the game and stuff. And he wanted to know, obviously, seeing as you mentioned the referee thing, what was your toughest moment as a ref?
Well, I once was in charge of a club match between Springs and Brakpan. And from the very start of the match, you could have seen that these Oaks are not here to actually play rugby. They are here to box. And to keep those Oaks under control was a very hard challenge. And at the end of the day, the match had to be to stop the match because there was this fist fight around.
Wow!
But especially with school rugby, it's very difficult. I think that's even harder to actually be a test referee or Currie Cup, because you've actually got some assistance. You've got the TMO and linesmen or assistant referees, what they call them now.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult because if you miss something, you always have the parents here on the side saying, forward pass or offside or a penalty. And so school rugby is definitely very, very difficult to be in charge of. But I love it. It's a way for me to actually give back to the game. And but yeah, small kids rugby like under 9s, under 8s, billikie rugby. That's the worst because there's no structure. When you referee a school game, it's much better for me, in my opinion, because there's some structure. Okay, there's offsides and there's that. Yeah, it's lucky, but it's a tough job.
Yeah. And then another question we've got here, you probably mentioned it already, but what's your favorite Bulls game of all time?
Well, okay. Apart from the two that I've mentioned, was the 2007. It was the final game of the round robin when the Bulls played against the Reds, and we needed to win by like 75 points to host the semifinals. And I was there that day. And
again, wow. We've actually watched. Yeah, we've actually watched a lot of rugby together. Funny enough, and we didn't even know each other. That's quite amazing. Yeah, that was an amazing game, eh? Yes. See. My friend from actually had
one that I'll never forget.
Yeah. I mean, I actually had a friend, a South African who moved to Australia, and him and his girlfriend came over to South Africa, for holiday, and we took them to a rugby game, and that was the game we took them to of all games. So that was
wow.
That was just unbelievable. I mean, I would never forget that. Just that, but all three of those games. I didn't go to the semi-final. Funny enough, against the Crusaders, and yes, I tell you, I just for some reason knew in 2007 we were going to go to the final. I just knew it. I mean, and thankfully we did. But and now Clinton is on the roll. Yeah, he's just got one more question for you. Another ref question. I don't know if you know, but Quinton was also a referee, so he tends to like this question a lot. Most difficult front row you've had to ref? Probably Brockton Springs again.
Well, that was it was a 13 game between it was Vereniging Gymnasium. I think they already became Gymnasium back then, against Jeugland. And but yes, as you know, it's a schoolboy game, so, and the testosterone is running big there. And you can also see these oaks, the tight head of the one team and the loose head of the other team, they didn't give each other much space, especially when it came to scrum time. And then the one time, I think it was the loose head of the one team just decided, well, I've had enough. And when they engaged, they went head to head, and it was a head clash, and it was actually very dangerous. But after that, we luckily sorted everything out. But yeah, it's like I said, it's for mine. I love it, but difficult, yes, definitely.
Yeah. Hey, yes, Juandre, thanks for your time. It's been really cool to get to know you a little bit better, understand what you're doing, and just your love for the game. Anybody that follows you, and please, people, if you want to follow Juandre, his Twitter handle's on the screen below, on his name strap, and give him a follow. I mean, the guy's got a lot of insights and stuff, and also obviously SA Rugby Mag. I think that's your Twitter handle for the publication. I mean, give the guy a follow and see what he does, and then you might have some appreciation of the work, especially now during lockdown. I think you guys are working harder than ever to just generate content. Because
Jacques, that's where I must give the whole team some props. It's difficult having no live sports, so the whole team have to get their thinking caps on and find ways to keep the entertained. There is some news here or there, but it's like breadcrumbs, So the team has run have done very well. So I must just say thank you to them, because if it wasn't for them, then I might have been out of a job because put out on the website. There's not a lot for me to do.
Yes. I tell you what. Hopefully, Cyril gives us some good news tonight, and we can start. We can start coming out of our cages slowly but surely. I, for one, am hoping that he will release the hairdressers for a start, because I am not in the mood
as you can see.
Yeah, and listen, I can't do the number 1 or 2, all around. I wasn't gifted with model ears, so if my head does, I'll have to put my the show on one angle, or just put a black thing in front of my face, because I'd be so embarrassed to have my face on screen. But anyway, thank you once again for joining us. I really appreciate your time. It's lucky to get to know guys like you, that don't always have a voice like this, just to tell your story and share it with everybody, so that they can get to know you and see who's behind the scenes of something that they might be following. And also, a lot of us follow each other. We chat and we banter, and give each other stick and stuff and whatever. But we never get to meet each other, and thankfully, this is an opportunity. But let's see. Hopefully, Curry Cup or something, we can have a game to where we can go together or something. We must speak to the bosses. If the Bulls make the final at Loftus, you must be the first guy, and then one of the journalists can hop on the back. Otherwise you'll just cover it all, and then we'll definitely hook up and go watch a match. Thank you once again for joining. And really, please keep in touch and keep doing what you're doing. I think you've got a nice job, and it's nice to contribute to the sport that we all love. So keep on doing it, and keep on evolving. That's the big secret, I think, and I think we've learned a lot during lockdown. So bye, Donkey. Thanks for your time. I don't know if is there anything else you want to say? Sorry.
Thank you for what you are doing. It's a lovely show. I've watched every episode. It's been brilliant, and I think it's a very nice initiative that you're working on. Giving the people out there a voice, even if it's a small one, but it's a start. And well done on getting Big Quibus on your show. I love that. I loved hearing all of his staaltjies and any lemonades wat hulle na die tyd gedrink het. So it was great. And keep on doing what you're doing, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot more sports stars and a lot more good influences on the game. I'm looking forward to seeing them on your show.
Thank you very much for those words, and I'll definitely work hard on that, and let's see how it goes. Maybe one of these days I can grab some of your journals as well, because at the end of the day, these are the guys that work behind the scenes, and these are the guys that I feel actually contribute so much more to the sport, and at the end of the day, give the superstars that we know and that we like and that we support, the platforms and the airtime that they get to make them who they actually are. It's not just about the 80 minutes on the field. It's about more than just that. So thanks for that. Thanks to your whole team, and we'll definitely be in touch. And as I always say, stay safe, wash those hands, and look after yourself. Thanks, Juandre. Thanks for being on the show. Come on.
Thanks. Cheers.